Rob on the mic, spitting truth from the heights. Queens unite under stadium lights. Bright nights, 7 train rides. Dreams born in the real hum. Brooklyn to Queens, yeah, we all about that outcome. This our time, this our cheer. Mets talk loud, bring the hype, make it clear. From the boroughs to the field, this our year. Queens in the house, let the world hear. From Flushing Meadows, echoes bounce off the bat. Rob calls, take the mic, snaps like a thunderclap. Home runs over bridges, no gaps in the story. Mets rise, reclaiming the glory. 7 the city, blue and orange army swarm. Summer vibe electric, love in every form. From Biggie's blocks to Flushing's heartbeat. Our anthem loud, no retreat. This our time, this our cheer. Mets talk loud, bring the hype, make it clear. From the boroughs to the field, this our year. Queens in the house, let the world hear. The apple pops in the outfield, city of dreams. Rob's voice over static, Mets on every stream. White lines mapped out the future, vividly. From shade to city, the journey's never gimmicky.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to Mets Talk Live right here on the channel and on X. And now I am live on TikTok as well, guys. So if you're not following me on TikTok, the handle is right there on the bottom of your screen. Welcome, guys. As this was just going to be basically a quick recap of yesterday's game in the home run barrage from the New York Mets. And finally, Juan Soto becoming an actual Met. But we had some breaking news here as the New York Mets have sent down Francisco Alvarez to AAA Syracuse and calling up Hayden Sanger to replace him as the backup catcher, as Luis Torren is probably the starting catcher at this point for the New York Mets, guys. And it is very interesting to see that Alvarez getting sent down because there wasn't much to actually, think that they were going to send him down. Just overall thinking that the fact that it seemed like the Mets was protecting Francisco Alvarez as a New York Met, just in regards to Mendoza's comments the other day when it came to the New York Mets. And, Mendoza saying basically giving him excuses about, throwing the ball to a certain base, blocking the ball behind home plate. Not a lot's going on. It felt like in the clubhouse that Alvarez was going to get sent down, and he actually did. So now we're just looking at it as a situation where the New York Mets now don't have Francisco Alvarez behind the home plate, not on the team anymore. After he hit a home run yesterday, obviously it was in a blowout game, but overall, it is what it is at this point. He wasn't performing. He wasn't doing anything with the bat prior to yesterday with the 1 home run. He was terrible defensively at the plate. So it is what it is at this point. And, the Mets won a ball game yesterday. They stopped their 7-game losing streak overall. But who cares? To be quite honest with you, I really don't care. Alvarez hasn't been doing the job. He was supposed to be so much better than this as a top prospect in the New York Mets system. And not only in the New York Mets system, guys, but in Major League Baseball, he was one of the top 5 prospects in all of baseball. And he's a shell of what we were expecting from Francisco Alvarez. So once again, guys, thank you for tuning in to Mets Talk Live right here on YouTube X and live on TikTok as well, guys. So if you're just tuning in, the New York Mets have sent down Francisco Alvarez to AAA Syracuse after yesterday's home run, monster home run, but it wasn't a blowout game, and the Mets clearly had this plan prior to yesterday's game. This was in the works probably for a few days, if not weeks, thinking about Francisco Alvarez, giving him every opportunity to turn it around and figure things out defensively and with the bat, but he really has not. And clearly this wasn't a decision they made last night or even this morning. This was a situation, this was a plan that they were clearly going to send him down if he wasn't going to figure it out, and he did not figure it out. So too bad for him, and you can't do nothing about that when it comes to the New York Mets and what they're trying to achieve here, and that is to win ball games after going through a very, very rough stretch over the last week, losing 7 in a row, and finally stopping that last night with the 11-4 victory against the Phillies. So once again, guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're not a subscriber to the channel and you are watching on TikTok, make sure you head over to the channel and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to do this more often, hopefully during most shows, going live on TikTok, just trying it out for the first time, just to see how everything goes. With the TikTok live as well, and hopefully everybody can hear me on TikTok overall. But I was very shocked. Like, I was just looking at highlights of the Mets game last night, and just overall just looking at things, what's going on with the Mets, and then that popped up on our screen saying that the Mets sent down Francisco Alvarez. So what are your thoughts in the comments, guys, when it comes to Alvarez getting sent down to AAA? I'm going to look at it really quick as I am live on YouTube. What's up, everybody on YouTube? Make sure you head over to the YouTube channel to subscribe to the channel, as well as I do pre-games, post-games, Mets Talk Live, as we are right now on YouTube, and other shows as well, especially during the trade deadline as well. We do a hell of a lot of shows just to talk about what's going on at the deadline, and of course, off-season news and rumors for our New York Mets as well. So thank you for tuning in to TikTok Live right here on Talking Mets with Rob. So yeah, guys, it is very amazing to see what's been going on with the New York Mets overall over the terrible losing streak, how they've been, the lack of performance, the lack of offense, the lack of pitching, just have been a bad team over the last week. And they finally woke up yesterday, 7 home runs. Griffin Canning battled throughout the game. Wasn't his greatest performance, but he kept the team in the ball game, did what they had to do until the offense came alive yesterday, and finally won a game to snap that 7-game losing streak. So just looking in the comments, guys, Alvy won't be back unless an injury the rest of the year. I don't necessarily believe that, Brad. I think they need him to work on things. It was clear that the Mets have been frustrated with Francisco Alvarez. They've probably internally been talking to him and saying, listen, you can't do this, you can't do that at behind home plate. And also looking at the fact that he hasn't been performing with the bat, and the bad performance behind the plate defensively as well. They probably grown frustrated with Francisco Alvarez. And I don't think this is a long-term thing, to be quite honest with you, right? Luis Torren is going to handle the job. Is he going to get exposed offensively? Probably, right? Most guys that are backup catchers, and Torren is a backup catcher. Let's make no mistake about it. He's outperformed Alvarez, but that's not very hard to do when it comes to what Francisco Alvarez has not done this year, is play well. So it's not hard to outperform Francisco Alvarez when you're not playing well. Yeah, Luis Torren looks so much better, and everybody wants him to be the starting catcher, but he's going against Francisco Alvarez, who's not playing well at all. So it's not hard to outperform Francisco Alvarez in Luis Torren's case, but everybody wants Luis Torren to get the opportunity here. Senga is more than qualified to be a backup catcher right now. We've seen him early on this season when Francisco Alvarez didn't start the season healthy, and you had Luis Torren playing every day. Now, what I like about Luis Torren is the fact that he actually puts the bat on the ball. Yeah, he strikes out, but when you need a hit, it seems like he'll get the base hit, right? He'll hit the contact instead of just swinging for the fences like Alvarez always seems to do every single time at the plate. Luis Torren does the exact opposite. Yeah, he'll jump on the ball every now and then, but he's going to try to hit the ball to left field or to right field, hit it the other way. Just put the bat on the ball, make the defense make a play, and that's what Luis Torren, in my opinion, does very, very well. So I don't think this is a long-term thing. I don't think this is an injury waiting to happen for him to get called back up. I think this is a situation where the Mets have been very frustrated, just like they were frustrated with Brett Beatty when they gave him every opportunity to perform well. He got sent down. And this is accountability that we've talked about with the New York Mets. They did it last year, and they're doing it again. They did it last year to Beatty, bringing up Vientos. They did it this year, now with Francisco Alvarez. And this is a big move. Make no mistake about it. This is one of your former top prospects that has not lived up to expectation at all. So this is a big move for the New York Mets here. A lot of Mets fans didn't believe they would do it, and they did it. This goes to the accountability factor at the top of the organization. This goes from Steve Cohen to David Stearns to Carlos Mendoza and then to the players. This is telling you, if you don't perform, there is accountability. There is accountability. There is a reason why you're getting sent down. There is accountability on this or in this organization, on this team. And I love the fact that they did it. Not because I want Alvarez to suffer and feel crappy because he's going to be sent down or is sent down to AAA. It's just the fact that he has not helped this team at all. And you can't go through a losing streak like this and have no repercussions, no accountability. You could say all you want that guys are getting more playing time than others, but you're still on the major league roster here. If you continue to get buried in, like, say, Luis Acuña's situation, where he's basically buried on the bench, never starting, and basically a glorified pinch runner and defensive replacement, you're not really doing anything special with Luis Acuña. You're not helping his growth at all. So I think he's the next one that's going to be sent down when Vientos comes back very, very shortly. And with Alvarez's case, he just wasn't performing. So once again, guys, if you're just tuning in on TikTok or on YouTube or on X, Francisco Alvarez has been sent down to AAA just after he hit a monster home run last night in a blowout game. But it was nice to see that power that we all were expecting from Francisco Alvarez. So it's not the hand, right? Your hand is not hurting or injured if you hit a ball that far like he did last night. So he's fine. Yeah, maybe he has some discomfort, which is understandable, but you don't hit a ball that far with a bad hand. So he's healthy, at least for the most part. He's able to play baseball. The Mets clearly planned this days ago, weeks ago, and they finally decided to do it. Why they did it today, I have no idea. They could have done it after the Rays series. They could have done it after the Braves series. They did not. So I just don't know. But the good news is Hayden Seger gets another opportunity here as a backup catcher. Luis Torren gets that starting role. And let's understand something, guys. Let's not get so excited for Luis Torren in the lineup nearly every day and being the starting catcher for the foreseeable future. Right? Why am I saying that? Do I like Luis Torren? Absolutely. He's a dog. He's a guy that plays. He's just a professional ball player. He's great behind the plate. He's not going to give you much power behind the plate, but he will put the bat on the ball. But he is going to get exposed offensively. He will. Because when you play enough, every team's going to find a weakness. It's just up to Luis Torren to adjust. But what I do have confidence in is that he will adjust at the plate. If they're throwing him a lot of breaking balls, he will adjust to the breaking ball. If they're throwing him a lot of fastballs in, he's going to adjust to fastballs in. So I'm okay with it. And, we're seeing accountability with this team if you're not performing, regardless if you're a top prospect or not. And I like to see that from the front office. And they were clearly frustrated by the performance of Francisco Alvarez because you're not sending him down if he's injured. You're putting him on the IL. So the injury situation with the hand isn't a problem for the New York Mets. They've been frustrated with his play. So let's move on, guys, as the New York Mets did snap their 7-game losing streak, as I'm trying to catch up to all the comments, and I do appreciate you guys commenting all over the place on this stream today. And again, guys, I am live on TikTok right now. So what's up, everybody on TikTok for the first time this year being live on TikTok as long as YouTube and on X. So yeah, guys, Mets snapping their 7-game losing streak in the only fashion the Mets know how, by hitting 7 solo home runs in the ball game, 6 by lefties and 1 by a right-handed hitter, and that was Francisco Alvarez. So the Mets finally broke out, and again, that crazy winning streak when Lindor hits a home run is continuing. I think it's at 28 now. Every time Lindor hits a home run, the Mets win, and it's been a streak, and it's continued last night against the Phillies. That was amazing. What was last night? Like, the Mets can't score a run as a scoring position, but they hit 7 home runs yesterday, solo home runs yesterday, to ultimately score on average in the game 11 runs, and that was nice to see when it comes to the Mets because we were needing this so badly because it was getting, I mean, it was rock bottom for Met fans on X, on any social media platform you're on. It was just pure pandemonium, craziness, and depression from Met fans. And I see my boy CP Chris, True Mets Talk podcast, True Mets Talk with CP. If you guys are on TikTok, make sure you follow, subscribe to his channel as well. He posted a video. He got killed by Philly fans on TikTok that he was very confident they were going to win yesterday. The Mets basically said it yesterday through the media that we're going to win tomorrow, meaning yesterday, and they did. They put their money where their mouth is, right? They stepped up to the plate. This is the situation where the Mets know there was problems with the rotation, with injuries, with just not pitching well. The offense was terrible, wasn't doing well. They were getting outscored by like 40 runs in this 7-game stretch for the New York Mets during this 7-game losing streak. And then they finally broke out. And why so important? Why yesterday was so important was the fact that the New York Mets were only one game out of the division, right? We just lost the division in game 1 against the Phillies. You win yesterday, you're back tied, and you also have the opportunity to take another series from the Phillies, win a series, take the lead back in the NL East, and you go back home to face the Braves for 4 games. Like, that's why yesterday was so important. Because of the fact that, yes, we've seen the offense finally come alive, even though it's not like they got a ton of base hits for runners in scoring position, but the power was there from this team, from a lot of guys we wanted to see power from and to break out of some slumps in Lindor's case for sure. But this game was so important yesterday, not just from the psyche of Met fans, but from this team in general, just to get the fan base off their back a little bit. Like, they've played well most of this in the majority of the season. And it helped them being so good and being one of the best teams in baseball record-wise. Kind of like made this 7-game losing streak not that much of a concern, a worry, or hopefully moving, falling so far back of a playoff spot or a division because they played so well. They kind of set themselves up because you're going to have a losing streak. You're going to have a tough stretch of 7 to 10 games, which the Mets are currently in. You protected yourself by having such a great April and May. You can live with a stretch like this, and the Mets are showing you can bounce back. And with all of this 7-game losing streak in this terrible week, they're back tied for a division. They're nowhere near panic mode at all. So, with that being said, the Mets are fine. Now, I still don't trust this rotation. We got our best pitcher on the mound in David Peterson today, so I like that. And he's been our best pitcher, and I really do like him. And I think he's, quote-unquote, the ace of the staff. And I do expect David Peterson to pitch well today. And Jesus Luzardo is kind of a weird type of pitcher where he can dominate a game or he can be really bad. There's really no in-between with Jesus Luzardo, who is pitching against the Mets today. So we will see. The Mets have an opportunity to take a rubber game here and win another series. And another thing why it's so important, why they won yesterday, is the fact that obviously everybody believes this Phillies-Mets division race is going to go down to the wire. We all believe it's going to go down to the wire from the beginning to end. And why is yesterday so important? And it leads to today is because you want to win the season series against the Philadelphia Phillies. So tiebreakers don't have to come into play here for the New York Mets on the negative end. And right now, they've won, 4 of 5, and they possibly can win 5 of 6, the first 6 games that they played the Phillies, and that is huge because that means we got, 8 more games to go, or 7 more games to go, right? 7, right? 7 more games to go after tonight's game. and they would have to go like what 4-2 just to catch up to us. So and to win the season series, that is huge, and that's why yesterday was so important. And hopefully today the Mets come out and start, beating up on Luzardo and win another game and show the Phillies, yes, we are that good. And then bounce back after a 7-game losing streak and start our own winning streak now as we finally head back home after a rough stretch with the New York Mets overall in Atlanta for sure, and now in Philly. So the 7 home runs were not just awesome to watch, and it was just bombs away, and no pun intended by anybody that know what's going on around in the world right now, but it was basically just constant home runs all over the place for the New York Mets. So again, no joking matter, but with the world going crazy right now, but it was just really good to see for the New York Mets to finally come out and break open with power that, we've seen power from this team, but to do it like they did yesterday was just outstanding, with Nimmo with 2 home runs, Juan Soto with 2 home runs and 4 RBIs, going 4 for 5 yesterday. This was, as I considered yesterday, I talked about it on the post-game show, this was Juan Soto becoming a Met today or yesterday. This was Juan Soto's moment. He did it against a division rival in the Philadelphia Phillies. He did it on the road against the Philadelphia Phillies in a Mets uniform. This was Juan Soto's stamp of approval, finally becoming a New York Met. Yesterday was that game. You saw the confidence. You saw the anger when he missed a pitch. And when he got angry, that next pitch went over the wall. And that is something that we were waiting for as Met fans. That's the Juan Soto I know. That's the Juan Soto we've seen for years with the Nationals. Soto shuffle, him hitting his bat in anger, missing that pitch, just looking dialed in, looking locked in at the plate. That is Juan Soto, ladies and gentlemen. Met fans, we finally got to see it yesterday. That is the Juan Soto we wanted to see, that we know. That is why he got $765 million for 15 years from Mr. Steve Cohen. You know why? Because of that. The guy is just dangerous. He is a guy who is clutch. We haven't seen it very much, if at all, this year. But that is what you pay for. The guy is just amazing at the plate. That's what we've seen from the New York Mets, and why everybody that had money tried to get Juan Soto, because he is a difference maker. That's what he is. That's what we want to see from Juan Soto. Now, can he take off after yesterday's game and just go crazy? We all can hope. Because you can't go 0 for 5 today and look terrible at the plate and be like, oh, here we go again. So, nice to see Juan Soto finally becoming a New York Met with his 4 for 5, 2 home runs, 4 RBI performance yesterday. And now we have a chance to win the series against the Phillies today with David Peterson on the mound against Jesus Luzardo. So a couple of things here. Once again, guys, if you're just tuning in on X, YouTube, or on TikTok, thank you for tuning in on TikTok. Talking Mets with Rob here. First time live on TikTok. If you're new to my streams and you're watching on TikTok, head over to YouTube real quick. And the link is in my bio. Just head over to the Talking Mets and Rob YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for tuning in on TikTok. If you are a Met fan, what's up? If you're a Philly fan, I hate you guys. Not personally, but I just hate your team. But overall, guys, Alvarez got sent down earlier today to AAA, which was kind of shocking probably for all Met fans, because nobody was expecting that at all. We all probably were. I was talking about it. You got to send him down. And a lot of Met fans wanted that as well. And now they finally got that to happen. And it was just frustration from the Mets front office, probably, of him not doing what he needs to do to get better. And it's clearly not about the injury, because if it was about the injury, he would have went on the IL. It's clearly the frustration from the organization to Alvarez. And this was in the works probably for a couple of weeks when it comes to Francisco Alvarez. Why they did it today, I have no idea. Going on, the last game in Philly to try to win a series, I have no idea. And after he hit a home run, I have no idea. But this clearly was the the plan for the New York Mets to send Alvarez down if he didn't figure it out over the next, over this week or so. And now Hayden Senga is taking his place on the roster. So Alvarez gets sent down to AAA. Mets snapped their 7-game losing streak by hitting 7 home runs in yesterday's game. All solo home runs, 6 by the left-handed hitters, and 1 by the right-handed bat in Francisco Alvarez. Soto finally became a Met yesterday with the 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 4 for 5. Really great performance. We finally seen Juan Soto be Juan Soto yesterday. He finally earned his blue pinstripes for the New York Mets. And last but not least, the rubber game tonight, ESPN. I know Met fans, ESPN. We don't get our great Gary Cohen, Gary Keith and Ron on the broadcast. We have to listen to that terrible broadcast by ESPN. But you get to watch on Mets baseball. Met fans are excited about tonight. We got our best pitcher on the mound in David Peterson against Jesus Luzardo. And we have the opportunity to win another series against the Philadelphia Phillies and start a new winning streak, because that is key. You win today, you win the series against the Phillies in Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. You take 5 out of 6 for the first 2 series of the year against the Phillies, and then you head back home to face the Atlanta Braves, who I still don't think are that good. The Mets just played so bad in Atlanta, and Atlanta went to Miami and they lost the next day after they swept the Mets. And they did win yesterday, but I don't think they're that good. And the Mets need to just put them out of their misery at Citi Field during that 4-game series. And then they face the Brewers, and then they head over to Pittsburgh, which me, Chris, Zach, many, many others are going to be there with the 7-line army in Pittsburgh to root on our New York Mets. So once again, guys, thank you for tuning in to YouTube, X, and on TikTok for Mets Talk Live here later today at 6 p.m. Mets pregame show with myself and Chris. True Mets Talk with CP. It will be on for the Mets pregame show later today. So if you're on TikTok right now watching this Mets Talk Live show on TikTok, head over to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you tune into Mets pregame tonight at 6 p.m. for the preview of Mets versus Phillies for Game 3. Thank you guys for watching on YouTube, on X, and on TikTok, guys. Let's go Mets, guys. I'll see you later tonight for the Mets pregame show with myself and Chris. Have a good day, guys. See you later tonight. Let's go Mets, guys.
Bob on the mic, spitting truth from the heights. Queens unite under stadium lights. Bright nights, 7 train rides. Dreams born in the real hum. Brooklyn to Queens, yeah, we all about that outcome. This our time, this our cheer. Mets Talk Live, bring the hype, make it clear. From the boroughs to the field, this our year. Queens in the house, let the world hear. From Flushing Meadows, echoes bounce off the bat. Rob calls, take the mic, snaps like a thunderclap. Home runs over bridges, no gaps in the story. Mets rise, reclaiming the glory. 7 the city, blue and orange army swarm. Summer vibe electric, love in every form. From Biggie's blocks to Flushing's heartbeat. Our anthem loud, no retreat. This our time, this our cheer. Mets Talk Live, bring the hype, make it clear. From the boroughs to the field, this our year. Queens in the house, let the world hear. The apple pops in the outfield, city of dreams. Rob's voice